From his studios in New York, it's time for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's your host, Dan Tortora.
Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Happy to have you here today on the show, and I appreciate you being here this morning. We're starting a little bit past 9 a.m. It was a very late night here with doing the semifinals. So I appreciate all of you today, the bonus show, for giving us a few minutes here to start the show, and I appreciate it very much with you getting up with us and being a part of the broadcast. So thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Plenty of college basketball talk coming up. Let's get into the morning menu right now.
Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We like to start off the show by giving you our menu of topics. The morning menu, that is. Live now with the morning menu is Dan Tortora.
Here on today's show, Saturday, March 10th, live on location from Brooklyn, New York. Very happy to be here and be hanging out here on the broadcast from Brooklyn. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora has been live on location from Brooklyn all week long. We have been with you from Tuesday, March 6th through today, March 10th, down in Brooklyn, New York, doing our show live on location during championship week and the ACC men's basketball tournament. We've been joined by so many voices, including Jerome Robinson and Kai Bowman of Boston College, Josh Okogie and Todrick Jackson of Georgia Tech, Rex Pfluger and Bonzie Colson, as well as Matt Farrell of Notre Dame and TJ Gibbs Jr. of Notre Dame, Marek Dolezaj, Frank Howard, O'Shea Brissett, Alan Griffin, Pascal Chukwu, Matt Moyer, Barama Sidibe, and Tyus Battle of Syracuse, as well as Ray Spalding and Dwayne Sutton of Louisville, Terrence Mann of FSU, Alric Freeman of NC State, Justin Bibbs of Virginia Tech, DeAndre Hunter, Devon Hall, Mamadi Diakite of Virginia, Mark Donnell and Elijah Thomas of Clemson, Gary Trent Jr. of Duke, Lonnie Walker IV of Miami, Chris Likes of Miami, Joel Berry II of North Carolina. And on today's broadcast, I'm very excited to say that you will hear my one-on-one conversations from the ACC tournament semifinal round. You'll hear my one-on-ones with Mamadi Diakite as he comes back onto the show from Virginia, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall, and Kyle Guy, all of the Virginia Cavaliers. We'll also hear from Marvin Bagley III, Wendell Carter Jr. From Duke, both from Duke, and then Cameron Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson from North Carolina. So 10 interviews coming your way this morning from the ACC tournament semifinal round in my coverage here in Brooklyn and my conversations one-on-one with those gentlemen. You'll also hear live from Sonny Spera and Hal Cohen back-to-back this morning. Sonny at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time and Hal Cohen at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. As just like we have done the last couple of years, we're doing it again this year for the third year in a row, which is to have former Syracuse basketball players on every single broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora during championship week. So there has not been a day without somebody. We had Dale Shackelford and Roosevelt Bowie Jr. on Tuesday, March 6th. We had Gene Waldron, Lawrence Moten, and Ryan Blackwell on Wednesday. We had Dajuan Coleman and Craig Forth on Thursday, and Craig's first time on the show was that. We had Terrence Roberts do a special right after the live broadcast. We did an extensive special that's almost 40 minutes long that you can get on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. You can go to wakeupcalldt.com, click on the RSS feed on the homepage, the iTunes podcast on the homepage, as well as the downloadable app powered by Podbean, or you can click on the link on our social media outlets at wakeupcalldt, at calldt, and at wakeupcall_DT. Get all kinds of information there. So the Terrence Roberts special happened on Friday, and then today we'll have Sonny Spera and Hal Cohen on the show. So very excited to have all these former Syracuse players with us on the broadcast, as well as all the Syracuse players that have joined us over 15 years of broadcasting with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So a lot on the docket here, plenty to talk about, lots of college basketball going on, and we're going to get started here by taking a look around the league here for a second. But before we go anywhere, I want to take a moment, and I'm really sad to have to take this type of a moment, but I want to take a moment this morning to remember Chris Gedney. It is with a heavy heart that during halftime of, well, going into halftime and halftime of the Virginia Clemson game, I found out the news that Chris Gedney had passed away. Former Syracuse tight end. Gedney played for Syracuse for 4 seasons from 1989 through 1992. As a member of the Orange, as a tight end on the team, he accumulated 1,334 yards, 91 receptions, including 7 touchdowns. He would move into the NFL to play for the Chicago Bears and Arizona Cardinals, playing in 73 games in total, attaining 914 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Gedney has served Syracuse University most recently as a senior associate athletics director, working with the Orange Club, giving him the responsibility of solicitation for major gifts, as well as managing the donor prospect pool. He gave his time to the National Down Syndrome Society as a member of their board of directors, along with being on the Imagine Syracuse Executive Board of Directors. Gedney was connected with the New York State Special Olympics, displaying yet another link of service to the community of Central New York and the greater community overall. He is survived by his 4 children, Analia, Chase, Eliana, and Montana. So, as I was saying, it is with a very heavy heart this morning that I share with you that at 47 years old, Chris Gedney has gone to heaven a little bit sooner. And I send my prayers to the family. I send my love to the family. Anything good I have my way, I send over to you. And I appreciate all prayers and all positive thoughts that go toward the Gedney family right now. God bless each and every single one of you, and God bless Chris. I hope that you are at peace now. I hope that you feel better now. I hope that nothing can hurt you now. And I hope that you found a way to happiness, and I just hope that you're okay, Chris. I didn't know Chris that well. I believe I spoke with him about doing an interview, or we had done an interview. Said hello in the press box and whatnot. He always did a lot. He was always working, running around, shaking hands, talking to people. It's strange for me to see this news. It was strange for me to try and sit down and figure out how to even write anything that would make... I was sitting here saying it's not going to make anybody feel better, So, it wasn't an easy thing to do. It's never an easy thing to do. I don't wish it on anybody to have to sit down and write any story about this or learn about a friend, So, I respect the family. I respect Chris. And I pray to God that you're at peace, and I pray to God that you're okay now. God bless you. Truly. If anybody ever needs help or wants to talk to anybody, I know that I'm your broadcaster, I'm your writer, I'm your source of information for stuff. But if you ever need somebody to just sit and listen, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll always be there. And if you're a stranger and I could help you in some way, I will. Because what are we in this world if we don't help each other? What are we in this world if we only feed our own indulgences? What are we in this world if we don't think of our neighbor and care for our neighbor? I'll tell you, we're not much of anything at all. So, if anybody ever needs a prayer or a well wish or a laugh or just a positive moment or somebody to listen, I'm here. You listen to me and I'm willing to listen to you. We got to do good by each other. So rest in peace, Chris. Gone way too soon at the age of 47 years old. Survived by 4 children. And I pray and I hope to each and every single one of you, Analia, Chase, Eliana, Montana, that you find peace, safety, security, health, happiness, all the gifts of God, and that you all live out a long, beautiful, wonderful life that is fun and goes by slowly. That you milk every single moment for the positivity and the goodness of what it's worth. And that you love your dad. And that you take care of yourselves and you take care of each other. And be good to this world. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for the news. And I know I don't know you. But I'm here if you need me. Unfortunately, I have been there before. And to Jay Hammerin up in heaven, I love you, buddy. And I still think about you every day. Still think about you a whole lot. And I pray and I hope that you're happy, and I pray that I hope that you're well. With that being said, we'll take a step aside here on the broadcast. We'll come back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with Sonny Spera, followed by Hal Cohen, 2 Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, and we will move on from there to my interviews from the ACC Tournament Semifinals with Mamadi, Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall, Kyle Guy, all of Virginia, Marvin Bagley III, as well as Wendell Carter Jr. of Duke, Cameron Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson of North Carolina. in just a few moments. Here, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or ice milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelange, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Clothing that will change with you without you having to change. DreisigLady.com, DREISSIG Lady.com. With the Bamboo line Relax Fit clothing as well as the Athletic Fit clothing, DreisigLady.com is fit for any woman, any time of the day, anywhere. Whatever you're doing, whatever your day commands of you, command yourself to feel comfortable in Dreisig Lady Apparel. DREISSIG Lady.com. For all the women out there, feel good in what you're wearing. And don't feel like you have to constantly change throughout the day. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, going for a jog, going for a meeting, or just relaxing at home, DreisigLady.com is the right fit for you. DREISSIG Lady.com.
This is Lawrence Papaleo, licensed real estate salesperson for Gilbo Realty. Call our home office at 315-752-9513, or better yet, call or text me directly at 315-748-2524.
Let me ask you a question, Lawrence. If I needed you to help me buy a house, find the right place, could you help me do that?
Joe, I'll help you find your dream home.
You don't ever say my name on the radio, never. If I needed to sell a house, could you help me go about that the right way?
Yes, I can.
How do they get a hold of you?
Call me directly at 315-748-2524.
But you also do the commercial property. So if I got a business, couple businesses, got to take one here, move it over there, do this, do that, are you going to help me buy and sell my commercial property also?
Yes, sir.
I like that. What's my name again?
I have no idea.
Absolutely, but they need to know your name, so give it one more time.
This is Lawrence Papaleo, licensed real estate salesperson for Gilbo Realty. My phone number is 315-748-2524.
Why don't you tell them your name one more time and that number so we can jot it down?
This is Lawrence Papaleo. Call me or text me directly at 315-748-2524.
Muddy Waters Kitchen and Bar is your home on the water for every season. Join them on Wednesdays for all-you-can-eat wings, chicken thighs, and drumsticks from 3 to 9 p.m. And on Thursdays, join me, Dan Tortora, for live game show night, a new night out unlike anything you've played before in Central and Upstate New York, every Thursday at 7 p.m. And while you're there on Thursdays at Muddy Waters Kitchen and Bar, from 5 to 9 p.m., join them for the barbecue all-you-can-eat buffet with buffet-style sides, ribs and pulled pork, chicken thighs, and drumsticks. And on Wednesdays and Thursdays, all-day happy hour. You know how to get it done right at Muddy Waters Kitchen and Bar on 2 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We're live on location in Brooklyn, New York, covering the ACC men's basketball tournament as well as championship week in college basketball as a whole. Bracketology, according to myself, is on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right now. You can go on to wakeupcalldt.com, go to the More tab, and click on Bracketology and read up on where we are at, as well as sign up for the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge. I want to thank everybody that has had some early sign-ups here. We're almost at 100 people this morning that have signed up early before Selection Sunday, so I appreciate it, and I hope that you sign up today. You could find it on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. The link is there, as well as on Twitter at Call DT, and you can find it on the bracketology page of wakeupcalldt.com as well. You can also search to find a public pool on we're through Yahoo, so you can go on to Yahoo's Tourney Pick'em and go to find a group, and we are in the top 10 there. You'll see it, Wake Up Call with the Syracuse logo. So make sure you join up this morning. With that being said, speaking of Syracuse, every single broadcast of championship week, we have had Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum grace the stage of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for the last 3 years, including this season. And this morning, we have Sonny Spera starting things off. Sonny and I, ironically, were in the same building together in Brooklyn and spent some time talking yesterday, and then Sonny got home at about 3 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed at about 3 o'clock in the morning here in Brooklyn, and now we are bright and early on the broadcast. Sonny, how you doing today?
I'm good, Dan. I could use a few more hours of sleep, but you know what? I promised you I'd be here.
I appreciate that. And Sonny, to take a look at, just before we get into Syracuse and whatnot, just what you took away from the ACC semis. I know you said no matter who was going to play, you were going. He's like, you said this is the place to be. You got to see Virginia, Clemson, and Duke, North Carolina. Let's start with Virginia and Clemson and just what you took away from that game.
Well, it's interesting when you see it. You kind of see it live, and you're not watching it on TV. And you're not kind of jaundiced by certain people's opinions or takes on things. And, you just see it for what you think it is. And even the replays they don't show very often, but it almost seems like Virginia comes out, they kind of let you do what you're going to do, and then they decide how they're going to shut it down, and then they shut it down. I mean, there was a stretch there where North Carolina, I don't think, got a decent shot for 7-8 minutes. I mean, it wasn't even a good shot. And, then offensively, I mean, they don't run real complicated stuff. I mean, they run some very simple, big to little screens, and guys come off screens. And they all know their role, and they just share the ball. I mean, Virginia, they're not exciting by any stretch. I mean, they're not going to light the world on fire with, young kids say, I want to play like that. But if you want to play on a team where the team comes way ahead of the player, that's one team to play for. And the other thing is, I get the game gets over, I'm sitting with my buddies, I'm like, all right, who's the MVP for Virginia? They're like, it could be so many guys, and 3 different guards. They have, the starting 5, there's 3 guards, all of them handle the ball. Guy, not as much as the other 2, but the Jerome kid, 11, 12 assists. And, he went to the basket hard. The Salt kids, he was perfect from the floor, from what I can recall. They're a team. They're an easy team to root for because they just play the game like the right way. They just look for each other. There's a steal. There's 3 guys. Boom. They just lay it out to their teammate. Could have been any of them, but it just was like get it to the closest guy. I mean, it really, if you're coaching a youth basketball team, watch what Virginia does. Watch how they play. Watch how they share the ball. Watch how guys know their roles. They execute. They're flawless. I mean, they're just like your coach. You know what I mean? It's your coach's personality. He doesn't have a hair out of place. Yeah. And that's how his teams play. And not taking away from Clemson. I mean, they're good. They've got athletes and players, and they're big guys. I mean, from my vantage point, I could see a lot of the low post and the paint area on the one end of the floor, and those guys beat the hell out of each other in both games. It's hand-to-hand combat. So it's a different perspective as a guard. I kind of like to stay out of that mess, but man, you can't help it. I mean, you have to win those tiny little skirmishes.
Yeah, and like you said, Virginia. I thought that that was a great statement that you made when you said who's the MVP of Virginia, because it could be so many different people. I mean, you look at Duke, and you argue Grayson Allen, you argue Marvin Bagley III. If it's a popularity thing, and it's a who hasn't been doing the booty bump lately, then you got to give it to Marvin Bagley. But when you look at Virginia, Mamadi, Diakite stepped in and done things. DeAndre Hunter, hit that big time shot at the buzzer to take down Louisville. in the regular season. Isaiah Wilkins and Devon Hall are vets. Kyle Guy does some good stuff. Ty Jerome. So, it kind of is one of those things where you essentially kind of take the crown and break it into pieces and hand it to 6 different guys, because that's just the way that this team plays. But you know what? The way that they play and how they do it, they win games, they find success, and like you said, it might not be pretty, it might not be exciting, but I'll never forget when somebody came out with the notion that the San Antonio Spurs were the most boring team in the NBA. And I said, if I go to the playoffs every single year and I stay relevant through 3 eras from David Robinson to Tim Duncan to Kawhi Leonard, and I win championships, I'll be boring every day of my life if it means I'm bringing home the hardware and I'm going to the playoffs every year.
Yeah, it's a culture, and it's what do they have in common? Popovich, strong coach, disciplined players, and the coach coaches the players. The players don't run the coach. And, the same thing, with Tony Bennett, although in a little bit more quiet manner, he's doing the same thing. And you're right, Diakite, he played great. Yet, he really isn't their starter. Salt is their starter, but, they could play together. They're complementary. It's team first. And that's the way the game should be played, and at least that's how I feel. And as a coach, that's your goal. That's what you want to see happen. You want to see the team's success way, way, way bigger than the individual success.
Yeah, and we look at the other matchup with the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Duke Blue Devils. I call them the forever rivals. They play each other all the time, all throughout history. They have those big game moments, and, we'll split series, take one here, lose one there, depending on, it's just the way that North Carolina and Duke go up against each other, they make it exciting. But at the beginning of this game, it was kind of quiet time at the Apollo, so to speak, and we didn't get to see, a ton opening up, especially from Duke. Then all of a sudden, the game started to widen out, different things started to happen, and, Duke was able to get on top of things for a little while, but then North Carolina took it right back, and in the second half, North Carolina, whatever Duke tried to do, North Carolina had already spotted themselves a few points going into the half, and whatever Duke had in the second half, whatever hopes they had in the second half, were answered almost immediately by North Carolina, who just continued to create separation and continue to push them off. They had an answer for everything. So what can you say about North Carolina, and did they impress you? They're an impressive team in general, but did they impress you with what they did to Duke in the second half to really not give up much anything?
Well, it was sort of like watching North Carolina play Syracuse. They just shredded that zone. They could do whatever they wanted against the zone. They could go inside, hit the high post, hit the 10 to 12 footer. They could go low post. They can spot up on wings. They can get kickouts, threes. They just it was a clinic on how to tear apart a zone. I'm sort of sitting there. I'm like, why don't they come out of that zone? Especially when is it Princeton when he picked up his 4th foul? Because I think he's a matchup that they can't handle if they went man. But and then they did. They stretched the floor a little bit towards the end. But at the end, all Carolina's trying to do is just run clock, and they all of a sudden are not looking to score. I don't know how many shots they took in the last 3 minutes. I don't remember one. And so Duke gets on that little bit of a run, and then you got momentum going. But in the beginning, it looked like Duke wasn't going to score. I think it was 9 minutes into the game. Duke had maybe 3 points, 5 points, or something like that. Yeah. And I remember at the midway mark, about whereabouts, I looked at my buddy. I was like, if you had Duke and 9 points at 10 minutes, you won the pool. But who that? You're thinking this game's going to be in the 90s, et cetera, because both high-flying offenses, et cetera, et cetera. They just get it done, And the other thing to me is, watching Luke May play live it's pretty special, man. The kid, he doesn't have any great skills, but he's got all the right skills. Every time there's a pass to him, he secures the ball with 2 hands. He made a couple just simple plays of just catching the basketball.
Yeah.
That were kind of difference makers. And, on the sideline, he catches it. He's got two hands on it. First thing he does is catch it. I mean, he had one bad turnover there towards the end, but for the most part, I mean, he's a double-double. He's going to get it every game. And he's a great passer, so who do you want handling the ball in the middle of the zone, can pick it apart with a 15-footer or a drop-down pass or a kick-out pass? I mean, he's the guy. And defensively, he was overmatched. I mean, he had all he can handle, either with Bagley or the other big guy. But he did what he had to do. And all those little loose balls, that little rebound that kind of finds its way to an area, he comes up with it every single time. Or he'll deflect it or he'll tip it to a teammate. I mean, so many little things. And he's not an ESPN highlight guy. I mean, you're not going to see things on there that are, oh, look, man, he's the guy I want to be like him. No. But if I want to win, I want a guy like that in my lineup. I want him on the floor. And, and the same thing with the bench. I mean, they come at you. They have so many different players. He used a couple different combinations, I think. Like the one guard who played a fair amount, didn't play much against Duke, and I thought he would have, being it was his own. Didn't see him play much, but the other kids they just play. And the other thing is, I just love the way Carolina handles their business. There was a situation that was right in front of me where there was kind of a rebound, and the kid on Duke got tied up with Barry, and they sort of separate, and the Duke kid, Trent, I think was his name, he comes all up in his face, and he's kind of a punk move, and Barry's like, yep, let's go, next play.
Yeah.
And it just epitomizes to me the way Carolina approaches the game. And unfortunately, what Duke is, sort of their reputation now isn't such a good sportsmanship, play clean. You've got some Grayson Allen, you've got this, and okay, and they're all one and done players now. So I mean, the culture is not, to me, the culture of Duke is not what it always was, and maybe that's what they felt they had to give up in order to attract that type of player. And I don't think you sell your soul to the devil, not my opinion.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you sell your soul to the devil, and that's the name of your team. So, but it's Duke has been, and Duke was named in this FBI probe, and what I found very interesting, Sonny, is that of the 10 highest paid coaches in college basketball for Division I for the men's side, 6 of the 10 highest paid coaches in the nation are connected to teams who were implicated in the FBI probe. So when you look at it and say, oh my gosh, how are they getting all these players, and how's it all working out, and why didn't Syracuse get this guy, and why did this happen with this, and this happen with that? I just find it very funny and interesting that more than half of the top 10 highest paid coaches are connected to what's going on with the FBI probe. And, like you said...
Do you believe in coincidences? Because I don't.
I don't believe... No, I believe in God incidences. I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah, neither do I. So, if it walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, and acts like a duck, it's a duck.
And that's, obviously has been, and like you said, you have to, you give up some things. And I never saw Coach K as the guy to be a one-and-done type of coach. I felt like he was, more of the adamant one against things like that and not being a part of things like that and wanting to build guys and keep guys for a long time and groom them. And then, if they go to the NBA, great, but he was concerned about Duke. And now this season and going into next season, he has the 2 highest recruiting classes. He's pulling in everybody. He's beating out John Calipari. So, like you said, do you sell your soul to the devil, so to speak? So it's an interesting scenario and an interesting case. But like you said, North Carolina, they got those guys that have been around the block for a while, and they have those guys that like you said, in moments where somebody fronts you, they, instead of responding to it and wanting to get heavy and this, that, and the other thing, they're like, okay, we got in your head. Let's move on from here and let's win this game. And, that comes from having the leadership that they have with Theo Pinson and Joel Berry II, who are both seniors on the team. Cam Johnson coming over from Pitt is a graduate transfer. And, that helps out the guys. And Kenny Williams, a junior. Luke May is a junior. So they help out the Brandon Huffmans and the Garrison Brooks and so on and so forth, Brandon Robinsons of the world that are young to the game, and Seventh Woods. And, just kind of bring them up and say, listen, we've been here. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to get to the championship game and have success and hoist a trophy. So you got to be bigger and better than that. And as much as this is a rivalry, we're seeing a clash of two different places in their history where Duke is that team that's going and getting all the one-and-dones and grabbing a bunch of freshmen, where North Carolina is systematically building people in the program.
Yeah, and I love Coach K. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think his relationship with his players is spectacular and special. I was just watching the thing on Bobby Hurley the other day, and when Bobby Hurley was in the accident in the his rookie in the NBA, and they called his parents to get out there. His parents left, and so did Mike Krzyzewski. Was one of the first people on the scene, and he's done playing for you. He played 4 years for you, but the relationship is not over, and that's what Coach K is all about. I think players that only play 1 year makes it a little bit harder to develop that long-term relationship. So I can understand part of his backing for a Grayson Allen type players and behavior, but I can't condone it. I can understand it, but I can't condone it. I mean, you're going to reap what you sow. So kid's not disciplined really, and then he does. I thought it was glaringly, to me, it was glaringly obvious when the thing went down that he was involved, and that he somehow absolutely, made that guy fall down, because he had, it's like, it's the kid who misses a jump shot, right, and he goes, chases the rebound and goes fouls the guy. I mean, it's the classic thing you see in second, third grade basketball, Yeah. And it's like, you got to grow up, young man. You got to grow up. And unfortunately, the whole world's watching, and he's under a huge microscope. I mean, when they did the little video things during the Clemson game, Clemson, Virginia, there really wasn't all the North Carolina folks and Duke folks there yet. And when they put, they had like a poll, and they had a player from each team. And as soon as Grayson Allen's picture came up, and they had the video, right? And as soon as he started talking, you couldn't hear it. People booed him a ridiculous and unfair amount. But, has he warranted that?
Right.
Because that's a tough cross to bear when you're playing. To every place in the country hates you with a passion. And I get it. I mean, J.J. Redick was absolutely not revered by other players. They all hated him too. But this is a different type of disdain. This is for even people who don't love basketball, see clips, see things, and just say he's just that's a spoiled whatever. They make assumptions about that person based on just some of those highlight actions. So the real basketball people are going to have certain opinions, and then you're going to have the partially interested person have even, I think, harder negative feelings towards the kid. And it's okay to kind of be the bad guy, so to speak. Play that role like LeBron James had to play when he went to Miami. You got to play that bad guy role, but it didn't fit LeBron really well. He couldn't stand it, and it's can't be easy when you're 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kid, and you got that added to the deck. I mean, Eric Devendorf was one of the top most disliked players in the NCAA, and he's a tough son of a bee, and he played through it. And but I think to the core, I mean, I think Eric's a good person. But this whole situation is a disaster for Duke, I think, from a PR standpoint, at least in the public side. And obviously not in the recruit side, because the recruit, they're getting them. They're getting the top 3 recruits next year, right? 1, 2, 3, and I think number 10 in the country. So, those other freshmen, they got to go to the NBA because they got 4 guys that are going to come in and replace them. So that's the culture.
Yeah, and the Grayson Allen booty bump, like I like to call it, that happened in the game, and I had a lot of different comments as to what was going on with that, and just what he did. I had a GIF that I put up at halftime that said first half highlights, and it's just the word bump knocking somebody down, and that's it. And then I just said he had another involuntary spasm. And if I had a dime for every time he had an involuntary spasm or a moment where it's an "ooh, that's my song" type of moment, I would own Apple if I had a dime for every time that Grayson Allen had one of those involuntary spasms where his body just kind of seems to be in the right place at the right time to knock somebody over. And unfortunately, Sonny, it's what we all like to call a Duke foul, because over history, Duke has had some dirty and egregious type of behavior. But the funny thing about a Duke foul, and how when you say a Duke foul, everybody knows what it means, I don't know if anything that I've seen in the past is as bad as Grayson Allen systematically, because he's done it for so long and so frequently and it's so blatant that I don't know. And like you said, I remember Pastime Jim, on the north, right by. I was on Salina Street, and I played basketball there starting at 7 years old. And I remember being in that gym, and whenever I see Grayson Allen do the booty bump or put his leg out or whatever that may be, or a little elbow here, this or that, and the other thing, it brings me back to being 7 years old and playing in a gym with a bunch of little kids and somebody being angry that it didn't work out well for them in the game. That's who Grayson Allen has been, and that's probably who he's always going to be. And like you said, on the Jumbotron, you don't see it on TV at home. When they do this little thing like, would you rather hang out with Jay-Z or date Rihanna? When Grayson comes up there to vote in a poll that's supposed to be fun, and they go to like all these different players from the ACC, as soon as his face shows up on the Jumbotron, he is booed more than maybe Donald Trump at this point.
Oh yeah, it's a universal language now, and obviously for him he's got to embrace it, got to own it, or else, it's a tremendous amount of literally peer pressure and public pressure to the negative, and the good news is, Krzyzewski's, their brand and his ways they're absolutely going to support the young man, and as they should. Because he has to have some solace or some comfort in his team. But I also think that he could have been handled much better on his first or second or even third tripping. That absolutely wasn't coincidental. But you know what? You once you've done that, you got the inmates around the asylum. So that's essentially what you've let happen. So you now reap what you sow.
Absolutely. And before I let you go, speaking here with Sonny Spera, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, with Wake Up Call live on location from Brooklyn, New York, in the BK. Sonny, Syracuse, 20-13, hard-fought 20 wins. They did it with 5 guys, 5.5, maybe 6 at times, but 5 guys. And Pascal Chukwu has stepped up at times. Marek Dolezaj stepped up. Barama Sidibe has done what he can with his body just not being healthy this year. And with all of that, we have the 40-minute players, O'Shea Brissett, Frank Howard, and Tyus Battle. They've won at Miami, at Louisville, Clemson at home, Virginia Tech at home, Buffalo, who's going to the tournament, beat them at home. Georgetown's been up and down, but they beat them on the road. They won an ACC tournament game. So we're sitting here this morning, Selection Sundays tomorrow. Do you find a place for them with Alabama winning, with Providence winning? There's all these upsets going on. Notre Dame lasted a little bit longer in the ACC. Louisville lasted a little bit longer in the ACC tournament, and also BC. So what's the call for Syracuse from here?
What are you talking about, Syracuse guys? Syracuse is in, but you got to look at I'm so sick of these bracketologists. I mean, I want to throw up every time I see the scroll come across the game. Four in, first four in, last four out, first. Oh my God, I want to throw up. To me, it depends on. I think it depends on one thing, and I've heard people say that. Do you think this is a team that potentially could win the tournament, right? And what I think hurts Syracuse from an outside standpoint is exactly that. Guys playing 40 minutes, not coming off the floor. Can that team sustain a run in a highly competitive one-and-done tournament? And, I think for a lot of folks the answer is no. If that's the answer, the one answer you get. But, to me, I'm a Syracuse guy, Syracuse. That's all I'm going to say about that. But the other question that I've heard, they say, well, we want a team. We're going to pick those teams that are on the bubble or on the fringe, and look at a team that can win games and be a factor, and that quote unquote could be a team to win it all. And is that what you see Syracuse at? And I think that's the one thing that makes it hard is you play in this environment, and you just look at you watch that game, you can see it on TV, but when you're sitting there and you see the size and the physicality daily of what goes on in a 40-minute college Division I high-level basketball game, that's some rough play. And can you do that? Can you do that night in, night out? It's tough. It's a tough task to ask any team to do that. And it's not. What are we leading the country in? Most solo baskets. Most ISO baskets. Least number of assists per baskets made. Those are not stats that bode well, I think, for a lot of people. But what I love about this team, and I absolutely love, is because of that, and in spite of that, they're just a gritty. And it's almost like adversity, and some of the social media, some of the posts are so negative. But these young men, Marek Dolezaj, he's kind of a little bit of a Luke May player. He fits in, he gets rebounds, he just makes smart plays, he tips balls, he's there. And he weighs 110 pounds, but he's in the mix. He's a competitor, and man, you're going to win with guys that are going to compete. And it's just been fun to see them shut the critics up or silence some of the rumbles and all that stuff. And you make it with what you have. And they've, 20 wins. They got 20 wins. If you saw this team and if you were told that 5 of these guys are going to play the lion's share of the minute, and they're going to get 1 or 2 other guys that'll mix in a little bit, and none of them are guards. They're all bigs.
Yeah.
So that means your point guard and your off guard have to handle the ball all the time, cannot get in foul trouble. That's a tall order. That's a tall order. You watch any other team in the country, there's no way they're asking that from their 1 and 2 man.
Yeah.
No matter what defense they play.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for me is that it's really it's tough to watch a team sport be played 1-on-5 on offense and see one guy dribble the ball for 15 seconds and take the shot, and nobody's doing this, doing that. There's no help when the shot goes up. Guys already running away from it, and there's no boxing out on offense or defense. So, those are the hard things to watch. At the same time, I haven't heard this team make one excuse this entire season. I've interviewed them from day 0 to the day that they were bumped out of the ACC tournament, and I have not heard Frank Howard, Marek Dolezaj, Pascal Chukwu, Barama Sidibe, Matthew Moyer, Tyus Battle, so on and so forth. I want to make sure O'Shea Brissett's, Howard Washington Jr., I haven't heard any of them, nor have I heard Alan Griffin, Adrian Autry, any of those guys say, excuse this and excuse that. There's been no excuses, and if any team's going to get to 20 wins in a Syracuse season, this was the year to not bet on it so to speak, in a lot of people's minds, and a very challenging year. So if you're talking about a hard-fought 20, yes. If you think I think this team's going to win the NCAA tournament, no. Do I think that they'll be gassed because they have to play every other day and really not get that much time off? Absolutely. At the same time, can they pull some rabbits out of their hat this season? Yeah, and I think that they deserve some damn credit for the work that they have done. And the naysayers are always going to be there, Sonny, but I want to see them be on a team that has 5 guys and have to play in the ACC and have to play 30-plus games and find a way to 20 wins in a season where it would have made sense if they won 9.
I absolutely love these kids. I mean, I do. They're just, you know, they're likable, and for all the reasons, all the things you mentioned. Just, you know, I love these kids. I mean, I love this team. I love these guys. And, you know, I mean, there was only a couple games that we really were out of, but, you know, I mean, we had Carolina, tie game, 74-74 with the ball, chance to win the game, you know. And Carolina, I think, is head and shoulders better than us, almost at every position. But we were right there, you know. And it's not an accident. Not an accident at all. And, you know, how many other games, you know, I mean, I don't want to go through all the games that we had, you know, that we could have won. But the fact is that we were more than competitive every night, and there's no excuses. That's absolutely the beauty, and that's a great culture, and it's a good thing to be a part of. I mean, I'm one proud Orangeman sitting here today. Period. Whether they go to the NCAA, whether they win another game or what, but they're going to be successful in life because they will compete and they won't make excuses. So they're accountable. What the hell more do you want to ask? You know?
Yeah.
What do you want in an employee? What do you want in a teammate? What do you want in a partner? What do you want in a marriage? What do you want in your business, leading your business? I mean, that's the kind of quality that you want around you, you know? Kids playing beyond her, Matt Moore, I mean, the kid's ankle looked like elephantitis. I mean, and he's still getting out there and getting after it as much as he can. And Sidibe, I mean, you know, he's battling through, and they were talking about redshirting him. You know, he didn't want to redshirt. Imagine if he redshirted.
Yeah.
What we were down to, you know. We're going to be pulling people out of the stands to play, you know.
Yeah.
And they just keep going. And, you know, God, that is, you know, talk about culture, talk about, you know, qualities, and that's what I want. That's qualities I want in my next generation. You know, I don't want to hear any more about millennials this, millennials that. That's the qualities that I want and I'm proud of coming up to take our places. You know, that's what it should be.
Absolutely. That coming from Sonny Spera and talking about the fact that, you know, these young men obviously have some responsibility. They have some maturity. They know what it's like to care about one another and not make excuses. And like you said, you don't want to hear millennial this, millennial that. The millennial generation is known as the excuse-laden generation, and there's no excuses coming from this Syracuse team. They said that they were too skinny. They said that they weren't going to be able to do this. They got too many young faces. They have too much this. They have too much that. The irony about Syracuse, and I understand that the athletes are different on the teams and whatever, but the irony is that somebody can look at Duke and say, they have a bunch of freshmen, they're going to win a national championship. And they can look at Syracuse and say, well, they have a bunch of freshmen, and they're not going to win 10 games. So, you know, it's just interesting, and you never put I shouldn't say we all never, but, you know, there are people out there that never look at the heart of things and never look at, you know, you might not win a championship, but it's what this team has done. It's what they felt they were capable of doing. And I feel like Syracuse beat themselves a lot more than other teams beat them. Not to take any respect away from NC State or North Carolina in some of those games, but you know, the game in the Dome where Syracuse played North Carolina, I was like, you know, Syracuse blew that in the last couple minutes of the game. And as good as Virginia is this season, I'm sorry, Syracuse in that game when they scored like 44 points, they did not play well offensively. They did not play together. They did not look for each other. And I said, don't take anything away from Virginia. This was a night where Syracuse just didn't do what they needed to do, and they did not play together. And that is where the team broke apart. You know, I think this team was capable of having more than the 20 wins that they have. But I'm sitting here 15 years into being a broadcaster and a writer, racking my brain, Sonny, this morning, trying to think of, do I know another Syracuse team that got a hard-fought 20 like this with what they had, with no bench? And I don't know if in the last 15 years I can sit here and tell you that I sat down live and watched a team get to 20 wins like this team did. I don't know if there's any more of a harder road in Syracuse's history to do so. And I feel like that needs to be remembered, just like John Gillen and Andrew White III need to be remembered. The day that they lost in the NIT, there were people that were like, good riddance, we hate you. And I'm like, if you didn't have Andrew White and John Gillen, you would have won 9 games last year. You owe them a lot. They got you to 19. You would have gotten to 9, maybe if you're lucky. There's games where John Gillen scoring 40 points in a game. Andrew White was one of the most consistent scorers on the team. It's just funny how fast people can forget, or maybe they just took an opinion and they are not willing to say that opinion was wrong, so they just continue down that road, as crazy as the opinion might sound at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand people saying, well, this kid should have stayed another year. Why did this guy go? You know, he's making them, I mean, every year. I mean, just support the kid in his decisions. I mean, please. You don't know. You don't walk a mile in his shoes. Shut up. Please. I have no time or tolerance for that garbage on any platform, social media, the newspaper, any of those things. And I gotta get a little more like Boeheim, I think, when it comes to that. Just a little more like, what the hell's wrong with you? I can't stand that. Even on Facebook and social media, I've got a bunch of people that I'm friendly with that are, fans, and I was part of a couple of groups, but I got the hell out of them. I couldn't stand it anymore. I just couldn't stand it. Looking at that stuff and reading those things, and the other thing is the one thing lost in this whole basketball blitz is these are students. They go to class. They got to get their ass to class. They just missed the better part of a week. And, now I know spring break's next week, right? So the NCAA travel or the NIT, whatever they turn out to be in, isn't as impactful as it would be, to somebody else. But they missed a bunch of classes because of their games and because of the commitment of playing in a tournament. And I'm sure the luncheon and the practices and all the media days and all the things that are required of student athletes, because when the NCAA makes $1.1 billion, we just assume, well, these are just, and they're unpaid labor. I mean, I don't even go into this right now, but they're students and they have obligation to get to class and they have to maintain a certain GPA so they can play. But forget that. What about in life? They want to get that diploma. They want to get that degree. They want to move on. They want to use this to the next step of their life, whether it's not playing basketball professionally, it's moving on to something else. That degree, that's what they want. That's what, quote unquote, that's their compensation. Well, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance. Let's make sure they have the tools and the ability to be successful in the classroom. Because God knows we bleed them for every cent we can get from a business standpoint. So, I mean, these kids have all that on their plate. They have families and family obligations too, just like anybody else. But, they got to walk, they got to get to class, they got to be careful. They can't slip on ice. They slip, they're hurt, right? Little things like that. And you betcha if they're all dinged and banged up, that they still got to go out and walk through, right now, Syracuse 3 feet of snow almost. I mean, they got to do what they got to do to get to class, to get that diploma. And I don't know. I mean, to me, that stuff still matters. And I think, we're forgetting that. We're forgetting that when we're saying, oh, this kid, that, this kid, that. Come on. These are young men who are putting it on the line every day for the university, for themselves, for each other, and they're still students.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing of it all is people forget that they're still students. And as I tell people all the time, they go, crazy angry and go just word diarrhea about Syracuse or anything for that matter when they're doing this, I always like to remind people that these are teenagers. They're 17, they're 18, they're 19, at best 20 and 21. You are screaming and yelling and demanding and booing children who spend half of their time in college, if they stay all 4 years, as teenagers. And on top of all of that, not only are they teenagers trying to juggle 2 full-time jobs, being a student and being an athlete, but on top of all of that, these kids are playing a game in front of 30,000 people, and there's 10 of them on the court. So if we look at the brass tacks of it all and say that, there's 10 people on the court and there's 30,000 watching, that's 0.0003% of the people in the room are actually playing the game. And like I tell people all the time, if you think you can broadcast, here's the mic. Don't say for 5 minutes. If you do, I'll slap you in the back of the head. If you are good enough and better than Tyus Battle, by all means, come out of Section 115, walk down to the court, and if you don't pass out in the first 15 minutes of the game, I'll buy you a cookie. But it's just amazing to me how people can judge from a nice seat, a nice cushy seat somewhere in their house or in a stadium, but how they don't look at the fact that you're booing children, you're booing somebody inside of your own home stadium, and on top of all of that, at the end of the day, you are a .0000. I mean, they're a .0003%er that's on the court, and you're just watching the game. And they're trying to win. I can guarantee you that Syracuse and everybody, like Virginia said, we didn't come into this season hoping to lose every single game. So, I mean, it's the same for all teams. There's 351 Division I men's basketball schools, and I can promise you, Sonny, that nobody's trying to lose games when it comes to stepping out on the court.
Nobody's tanking. This isn't the NBA, that's for sure.
That coming from Sonny Spera. So, as always, Sonny, appreciate you being on the show. Good to see you, and please go get some rest, and hopefully I will do the same in a little while.
Well, you get a little nap and then have fun tonight. It should be a heck of a final because that's 2 extremely talented teams, 2 well-coached teams, and it'll be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to see. You're going to have strength against strength,
Yeah, I feel like it's a feel-good type of thing because North Carolina brings a lot and Virginia brings a lot to the table. For me, it's just it's all fun and games tonight, so to speak. There's a certain air of positivity around this, and I'm gonna have some fun for sure.
Well, enjoy.
All right, I'll talk with you soon, Sonny.
Take care now.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That coming from Sonny Spera once again. Sonny, a part of the broadcast, and appreciate Sonny coming on to the show. We're going to take a quick, fast break and come back with fellow Syracuse Orange alum Hal Cohen in just a moment here on Wake Up Call, live from the BK, Brooklyn, New York.
This is a Wake Up Call Fast Break.
Hey, Wake Up Call listeners, this is Tom Taylor, owner of Sammy Malone's, located at 2 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, overlooking the beautiful Seneca River. We proudly open our doors to you 7 days a week, beginning at 11 a.m. daily, with free parking. Whether it's game day, after-work drinks, or a meal with family and friends, we are honored that you come visit us. Call 315-635-5407 for parties and catering. I'll see you at Sammy Malone's, home of the best sandwich in Beeville.
Hi, this is Domenico Vitali, owner of Giovanni's Formal Wear, where you look great and feel even better with our renowned tailoring and alteration services on any suit or any tuxedo from anywhere. Call 315-455-8729. That's 315-455-8729. Stop in locally on Route 11 in North Syracuse, next to the Ponderosa Plaza, where you can choose your style, get fitted, and tailored, all at Giovanni's Formal Wear.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
For all of us that have always wanted our favorite restaurant to come to us, it's now a reality in Central New York with It's a Utica Thing, with Utica Pizza Company bringing their wonderful recipes that they've handed down through generations to you, to your event, to your business, to your home. It's a Utica Thing, proudly bringing Utica Pizza Company on wheels to your location. Call 315-738-8946. That's 315-738-8946 to bring Utica Pizza Company to your doorstep with It's a Utica Thing.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you, broadcasting live from the BK. We are down in Brooklyn. We've been in Brooklyn all the way through this championship week in the ACC men's basketball tournament. We have covered every single game. You can see a story written on every single matchup by going to wakeupcalldt.com and clicking on the Right Now page. And you can also listen back to the interviews by going to the ACC Central tab, and right under that tab is ACC Basketball. There's also a quick link at the bottom of wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and you can get all of the interviews one-on-one with all the players that we have had on the show. Still got 10 more coming up today. You will hear from Mamadi, Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall, and Kyle Guy of Virginia. You'll also hear my one-on-one conversations with Marvin Bagley III, Wendell Carter of Duke, Cam Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson of North Carolina before we round out today's show. But on the broadcast right now, live, is Hal Cohen. Hal Cohen is somebody that I appreciate having here on the broadcast. I found out something kind of interesting in how small the world is, so I'm going to have to ask Hal about that in just a second. But before we go there, let's bring in the former Syracuse basketball player to the show. Hal, how you doing today?
Wow, very good. Sounds like you're busy.
A little bit, Hal. I think that the interviews for the ACC for me at this point are just shy of 50 with the players, and then that's not including all of the. Yeah, we're at 47, I think. So, yeah, a little bit. I like to push myself, and push myself I did. But, I like to bring something different to the airwaves, and I don't know, another place that's covering all 15 schools and letting you get a feel for everybody. So we dare to be different here, and needless to say, I don't sleep a lot, but it's all worth it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you get a lot of energy, and sounds like you're having fun, and as they say, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Now, I have to ask you this question. You have a sister that works for an airline in Syracuse, New York, and
yes, I do.
So my mom sends me a text message because my mother works for the same airline, and so my mom sends me a message, and she was like, "Do you know Hal Cohen?" And I texted her back. I go, "Yeah, he's going to be on the show this week. He's going to be on Saturday." And she's like, "That's a very small world." And then she told me, and I've met your sister, but I didn't know her last name or any connection there. So it's kind of funny how small the world is, Hal, that we both have relatives that are working together, flying the friendly skies, and then here we are together this morning.
That's funny. That's definitely a small world. I thought you were going to call me and ask if you want to get upgraded or something.
Well, that's the thing. My mom always gets upset because I'll be flying and then I'll be bumped up to first class, and she'll send me a thing and say I'm in 33D and then I'm in 1A, and so Mom always seems to get upset about that. But I told her, I was like, if you're good to Jesus, he'll take care of you. That's what I tell her. So
I gotta tell. Yeah, I'll have to tell my sister we talked.
Yeah, absolutely. Let your sister know that we had a conversation. She's very sweet. So it's just funny to make connections like that. Yeah, but out of all names, my mom's like, "Do you know Hal Cohen?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." So And it was a year ago, almost to the date, Hal, that you came on the show for the first time when we did the ACC tournament conversation last year. So pretty crazy to say that we quote-unquote met a year ago, but I definitely appreciate you coming back on the show.
Well, I think that's what my contract said, right? One interview per year for $1 million each interview, right?
I think it was maybe a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Maybe we could do that. If they're worth $1 million, they certainly feel like $1 million. But somewhere around that region. You can't get in. Sonny
Spera's on the show all the time. You can't get in with him. Being on the show all the time.
Yeah, Sonny is. He texted me. He goes, "I hope I said." He's like, "I hope I'm bringing something to the thing." I was like, "Sonny, at this point, you're like a relative of the you're a part of the show. I'm keeping him kind of where I need to keep him. He's on the show enough, but not too much, so he can have intern status, but he doesn't get on the payroll. That's what I'm trying to do."
Yeah, he followed when I graduated. I think he came in the next year or the year after, I forget, but it was soon after. So we kind of overlapped, or just missed each other there for a year. But I got to follow him when he was playing, so it was fun.
And following up here on the show and following him this morning on the show, Hal, I mean, you've seen Syracuse and you've seen what they've done. We spoke off the air about it for a couple minutes. This team has gotten to 20 wins, and I will say of all the 15 years as a professional broadcaster and writer, as I said to Sonny a couple minutes ago, racked my brain, and I can't, for the life of me, find a team, speaking of Syracuse history in the last 15 years, that has gotten 20 as hard-fought as these 20 with as little as they had with basically 5 guys, most of the time 3 guys, definitely not a bench. And, and that's no disrespect to anybody. Howard Washington wasn't put out there that much. Matthew Moyer wasn't trusted that much, and then he got hurt. And Barama Sidibe hasn't been healthy all season. So it's no true knock on any of those guys who are fantastic people and always good to me. I look at this team and I say 20 wins with 5 players. And the rest of the ACC, some of them are short bench, 6, 7, 8 guys. But there's Roy Williams who has a starting 5 for his starting 5. And it's, you look at Duke and it's talent upon talent upon talent, layers upon layers. And in Virginia, Sonny had said, who do you give the MVP to? And I got 5 of the guys coming on the show today: Mamadi, Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall, and Kyle Guy. You add Ty Jerome in there, I could give the MVP to any one of those. So, Syracuse, to get to 20 this year, might be one of the most magical, unsung hero seasons that I've seen at Syracuse ever.
Yeah, as most of us, we go to work and we hear everybody complain about the team if they don't win, and if they do win, they're all excited again. But somebody asked me that the other day, and they said, "Boy, that was not a great year," and I don't think Coach Boeheim did a great job. And I was thinking just the opposite. I'm thinking, wow, with what they had, everybody leaving. And obviously, was it Torian Thompson left right before the season started or whatever? And with this group, I thought he did a great job. I thought the team did a great job for what they had, And so I thought they battled all year long, and I thought they played hard. And to get 20 wins, I think that was incredible. I think this might have been one of Coach Boeheim's one of his better years coaching it. With that crew to come up with those wins, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, so, for them to do what they did and how they did it, it's just it's just pretty amazing to just see it. And like you said, it might be one of Jim Boeheim's best coaching years. And it's funny because that notion was brought up this week of put another coach in the seat. Tell him he's going to have 5 guys and he's going to have to rely on 3 of them for 40 minutes a game, one of them a true freshman, and another guy who has never been asked to be strong offensively, and Frank Howard. This, and they said, what other coach would find success? So let's go to that. Just Jim Boeheim. He's 42 years in, Hal, but yet he still has relevancy on a team that maybe was going to win 9, 10, 11 games, and he pushed this team to 20.
Yeah, I guess two thoughts. One is his 2-3 zone. You know, everybody kind of always was, you know, poo-pooing it, you know, as a kind of a, you know, not a real defense. You know what I mean? But now Duke's doing it, and now you're going to see everybody from it. Now that Duke's doing it, it's okay. You know, it's like it's the thing to do now. Now everybody's going to be playing that zone, so that was interesting to see that he'll. You know, I bet you within the next year or two you'll see, you know, a lot of teams doing the same thing, and so he still has a lot of respect in this area. And obviously, if Krzyzewski is going to listen to Coach Boeheim, probably he's calling him and asking him how he runs that. But what was the other question? I tell you, to win many games. That was the question.
Yeah, well, just to get to 20. I mean, there was a notion brought up by you know, in the conversation this week on Wake Up Call that put another coach in his seat. How many of them would really how many would get to 20 like he did with the team this year?
Well, that's the other thing. I think things change now. You can't, as a coach, you know, usually the old days you would, you know, you had everybody for 4 years, and then you plan accordingly. You know, okay, this guy's going to be coming in, he's not going to be ready, but give him a year or two to get ready. And then, you know, when those seniors graduate, then that person moves up, you know, and every year that person, you know, the players get better, and then you kind of coach that way. Now it's all different. Now you never know who you're going to have the next year. And this year, you know, same thing. You didn't, I mean, you had somebody got hurt with, CDB got hurt, and obviously Thompson left, and then you had, you know, some other guys get hurt, and they're out, or Leiden went to the NBA, and so everything changes, and you can't plan for the 4-year run. You know, you can't, like, okay, I'm only going to recruit these 3 players. You got to look at it as almost as if somebody's not going to be there. You have to plan like there's, you know, anybody could leave at any time. So, you know, putting somebody else in there, I don't know if they could have done any better. I don't think they would have done any better. And to get the most out of the players, you know, he has to do what he has to do, and he had to play those players, you know, 40 minutes a game, which, you know, takes its toll, you know, especially over a long season. Fortunately, none of the big 3, as I recall, didn't get hurt. But if any of those 3 had gone down, then, you know, really would have been in trouble. But no, I thought he did a great job. I have no complaints. I thought, you know, they battled. That's what, every game they played hard. And I thought the 2 Dolezaj and the big guy, they really improved, and I think they'll be ready to go next year, you know, to help them out. Whereas if, you know, if you had a couple other players, those guys wouldn't have developed. So I thought it was a very good year for what they had.
Yeah, you know, absolutely, and we look at, you know, this team moving forward, and I got to ask you, Hal, I know that you're a Syracuse Orange alum, but I'm going to ask you to be impartial on this thing. Can you find a place for them in the tournament? I mean, there's been some bracket busters. Alabama found a way to win, and they were on the bubble. Providence found a way to win, and they were on the bubble. And so there are teams out there that are looking to take those spaces. Notre Dame lasted longer than Syracuse in the ACC tournament. So did Louisville. So did BC, but they all got bumped out after. So, you know, they were all one step farther than Syracuse, but then no steps after that. Do you find a place for this Syracuse team in the tournament this year? Do you give them a spot, or is it more of an NIT year? How do you kind of look at this? Because I can argue them in, and at the same time around the country, I can't argue against the fact that Providence deserves to be in and that Alabama deserves to be in, albeit even if it was a play-in game, they still have earned their stripes as well. So just what you think about the postseason.
Well, number one, I would love to see him get in, because that's, as I've said before, this family thing for us and most families in the Syracuse area, you know, looking forward to coming home and watching the games and having that family bonding, watching your team play. And so obviously we'd like to see him play. And, you know, always the teams that don't make it doesn't mean that they are not as good as those teams. I'm sure Syracuse is as good as, you know, half the teams that are in there, you know what I mean? In terms of, you know, if you had to play one on each other over the year, you would probably beat half the teams that are in the NCAA tournament, and half the, you know, you wouldn't be. But so basketball-wise, they're as good as, you know, as is a large portion of the field that's ins. But obviously, you got to, obviously you get those automatic bids, and it makes it difficult. So if they're on the bubble, and then I haven't really followed a lot in terms of who else is out there, but just listening to a show somebody yesterday or something, it sounds like there's a lot of upsets, and therefore, teams that weren't supposed to get in are some leagues they would only have one team in. Now they've got two teams in because the main team lost. So having said that, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going to go down, to last night. If more of these upsets occur, then I think it'll probably be difficult to get in. And I don't know how the NCAA, if they look at teams with blinders, you know what I mean, in terms of okay, Syracuse got in last year, so we're not going to put them in this year. They didn't get in the other year, so we'll put them in. I don't know how that works. I'm sure they're supposed to be impartial, but I think it'll be close. I hope they get in, but if there's more upsets, then I think it'll be difficult.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think, I feel the same way about it. If Syracuse is in a place where, these upsets weren't happening and whatnot, unfortunately, as good as Syracuse has worked to play and what they've worked to do, it all comes down to the fact that this is a team that is leaving, themselves. They're leaving their postseason placement in the hands of the committee. And when you leave yourself in the hands of the committee, sometimes you don't like what you see, and you don't like what you hear, and you don't like what ends up happening. So, it's just one of those things that this is where they're at, and you have to sit and wait. Unfortunately, sitting and waiting, there's other teams that are still playing, and when those teams are still playing and still winning, that makes things difficult on you, but for sure. So, Syracuse, it's going to be an interesting run from here and placement from here, but ultimately, I think that we can agree, Hal, that, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, that this is a team that has done things that people didn't think they could do, insurmountable odds, and somehow found a way to navigate through them and have success. And I think if this team gets anything, it should be respect at the end of a season like this.
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, you're looking at, three players that, like you said before, that played all this time, and and they took it upon themselves. They had to do I don't know what percentage of scoring. That's got to be 70, 80% of the scoring. And with three guys and two other guys who were good role players, who are not, if they get the ball, the other team will be happy to let them shoot, And so if you just have to focus on three players, that's very difficult. And a lot of this, what they do is, off of screen and roll, so you have to be able to create your own shots, which is often, difficult and tiring. And a lot of respect for these guys who, battled all year. And this is the ACC, one of the best, if not the best conference in the country. And you're going up against, bigger, stronger, taller maybe more athletic teams, but they hung right in there. So, again, I enjoyed watching them this year, and I give them a lot of credit for hanging in there.
That coming from Hal Cohen. Hal, to look at the rest of the things that have been going on with the with the ACC tournament and whatnot, we're going to see Virginia take on North Carolina. What can you say about these teams? To take a look at what they've done and what they've been. I mean, North Carolina is a team that was able to stave off any type of run that Duke was trying to make later on in the game. They got after it early, and they did what they needed to do. They took care of business. Cam Johnson coming over from Pittsburgh, good move for him. He'll talk about it in just a little bit, hindsight 2020. Theo Pinson and Joel Berry have come up in the program. And then on the other side of it, we have Virginia with Devon Hall and Isaiah Wilkins and guys like that coming up. So these are two programs that are not one-and-done type of programs. These are guys who come in, and with Tony Bennett of Virginia and Roy Williams of North Carolina, they get educated, they stay, they get an education in the classroom, they get an education on the court and in the practice facility. And we're going to see two teams go up in the championship game with Virginia and North Carolina that's have this old style, so to speak, in the sense of guys stick around and guys wait their turn and guys go through the process. What do you think about that we're seeing two teams that are not the one-and-doners and essentially are the ones who had to wait their turn? And guys like Joel Berry of North Carolina and Devon Hall of Virginia, they had to sit and wait and be a role player and play 2 minutes a game or have 2 points and not take a lot of shots because they weren't the guy that the ball was going to, and now they're the leaders on the team. So these teams look very similar on paper in the sense of guys stick around and they build the program and they wait their turn, and here they are today.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's old school stuff in terms of 4-year players, and you can tell there's a big difference. Just like in the old days when you have a lot of freshmen on the team, versus a team that's got a lot of seniors. There's a big difference between someone that's a freshman and someone that's a senior. Not only strength and you get stronger over 4 years, but knowing the game and how to play the game and having gone through adversity before and getting better. And so I guess this is good for other schools to see that you can still win with players that are not heading off to the NBA. Maybe it's somewhat easier to coach when you have consistency like that. But one thing I thought was interesting was North Carolina, and when you used to play teams against Syracuse, I can remember a couple examples like in the past NCAA tournament where a team like I think it was Oklahoma State a few years ago played against us, and they were really good. And when they played against our zone, they looked like they looked terrible. They looked like they couldn't play, and then they were a very good team, but they didn't know how to play against the zone. It looks like North Carolina was probably one of the best teams I've ever seen play against our zone. They look so comfortable in it. And now they've got two teams in the league that play the same defense, the same zone defense, and they were able to pick that apart, against Duke, and they were also picking it apart against us. And the more you play teams that have similar styles, the easier it'll be. So that may be not good. Got to be good for us in the future because everybody else is going to be playing against Duke twice and us twice, and learning more about. Before they would just prepare for us once. Now you got us maybe twice and Duke twice, so you get to prepare better. So the teams in the ACC will maybe be able to handle our zone a little bit better in the future. But no, I'm looking forward to the game, and it's just like you said, two great programs, two great coaches, and I guess I would go with North Carolina beating Virginia.
That coming from Hal Cohen. And Hal, before I let you go, just to give your thoughts in general as we move forward here of college basketball. We've seen a lot of things happen. We've seen, obviously the FBI probe. More than 20 schools have been brought up in it. I find, and I brought this up a few times on the show in the last couple of weeks, find it very interesting, and I don't believe in coincidences in life, that 6 out of the 10 highest paid coaches in Division I men's college basketball are connected to teams that were implicated in this FBI probe. So more than half of the highest paid coaches are connected to this. So when everybody asks the question, how do they get all the good players? Well, it might not be in the greatest of ways. Just what you could say about what's going on in the NCAA and the fact that more than half of the highest paid coaches are implicated by school in this FBI investigation right now.
Yeah, well, number one, I'm glad I'm not a coach. Number two, I think it's extremely difficult, to not, do something, because the difference between what one player can do for a program is just amazing. If you get that one player to your school, that could turn everything around and, turn your program around, make you look good, and now, it gets you to the top 10 or 20 or whatever, and now you're going, now you're on the circuit lecturing and talking, and everybody thinks you're the greatest coach, and it's just a lot of, to not do something, I would think it would be very tempting, or very, very difficult situation. So I think it's always going to be a fine line, and I'm just glad I'm not in it myself personally. But I just know how it is when you have a good player and it's between you and another team. To get that player, it's got to be extremely difficult. To in that situation not to stay within the rules when you're seeing other teams kind of bend the rules or whatever you say, close to, not illegal, but, it's a very tight, fine line you have to walk to not go over the line to get that player, I would imagine. So, I can see why it happens and how it happens, and I'm sure a lot of the head coaches maybe don't know anything about it. And maybe they don't want to know anything about it. Maybe they feel, personally that's the best way they can do it is if they don't know about it and somebody did it in their program, at least consciously they could say, well, I wasn't aware of that or whatever. But I just think it's extremely difficult. So I'm just glad I'm not a coach.
Yeah, coming from Hal Cohen, and I don't think people would deny that, and say, not being not having to deal with that stuff right now. And, Hal, finally here, Kevin Ali this morning during the show has been let go from the UConn Huskies. Wow. He's obviously had a lot of success with them, and then so a former Big East team losing their coach, and then another former Big East team losing their coach that happened this week was Kevin Stallings. After just 2 seasons in Pittsburgh, he had a record of 24 wins and 41 losses. He was 0-19 in ACC play this season, and Pittsburgh fell off Pittsburgh's usually 9-9, somewhere around there. So, Pittsburgh is looking for a new head coach. UConn's looking for a new head coach. So 2 Syracuse rivals looking for somebody to lead their programs. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, we know that Jamie Dixon was in Pitt forever. We know Jim Calhoun was at UConn for a very, very long time. And now both of these storied programs and undoubted rivals of Syracuse are looking for new life.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. I think that's what we're just saying is that's how much pressure is on these coaches to win, and that's again goes back to what I was just saying is, can you imagine? Normally you would say somebody would get at least. You got your own team. You hired. You got 3 or 4 years to get your own team, so and so, and then be out after 2 years. Man, it's I'm sure the alumni and the money situation is huge for these programs, and if they're not winning or the alumni's upset, so again it goes down to now you come down to a player, and if you get this one player, they could turn your program around, and you don't get them because the other team's doing something illegal or something that makes it extremely difficult. So. Yeah, the coaching profession is tough. I'm sure when you're winning and doing well, I'm sure it's fun. And but if you're not winning, or Kevin Ollie, didn't they win the national championship? Was his first year he took over or something? Or he took over Calhoun's team, I think, right?
Yeah, he took over and they won a national championship. Yeah.
That seems like it was only a couple of years ago. So I don't know the answer. But the pressure on these coaches to win and to be successful, even if you're fair, you could be gone. So, but I'm sure I'm hopeful that those guys, they have so much knowledge and experience that they'll find other jobs, and I think that's what happens. Is kind of a revolving door, kind of you get coach for 4 or 5 years, and then something doesn't go well, then you go over here and assistant here, then you become a head coach there. So it's just a very pressure-packed job.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very it's crazy.
I got one more thing.
There you go.
To think of Coach Boeheim to be at one place for 42 years or 40, whatever it is now, that's just an amazing feat. Just to be at one place to stay that long. I don't even know what you can look that up. What the average coaching lifespan for a head coaching job at one place is probably pretty, not very long. If you don't win, you're out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot of coaches that are, kind of locking in their spot as opposed to Coach K and Jim Boeheim. Not a lot of coaches around the country that are, firmly seated. Mark Few's been in Gonzaga for a while, and there's certain guys that have, been in places for a long period of time. Bill Self's been a part of Kansas for a while. Roy Williams with North Carolina, but 42 years and over 1,000 wins in one place and one place only. No other coach in the history of anything has done that in basketball. That is JB. So, to look at that, and it is over 1,000, folks. Let's just call it what it is because it is. And I think it's crazy that we have to say, well, it's 900 and da to the NCAA, and it's 1,000 it's. I mean, you can't erase games from history. You can't say that I wasn't there covering them. And like I said, by taking away the national championship from Louisville in 2013, do I get my money back for my flights as well as my hotel and the food? Because if the Final Four never happened in Georgia that year, then I was never there, which means all that money should be credited back to my account from the NCAA.
I'm sure they'll give it back to you.
Absolutely.
I got one question for you.
Yeah.
So when you talk to Coach Boeheim, do you call him JB?
I don't call. I call him Jim or I call him Coach. I don't say JB.
That's the first time I think that's the first time I ever heard someone say JB.
Yeah, JB. It sounds like a a younger kind of hip and this and that. But yeah, I mean JB is JB. He's going to do what he wants to do. And this was a year where I kind of was kind of watching in the press room. He was not very fond of speaking this year, and I understand. I understand that completely, and what people don't understand about Jim Boeheim is he takes it and takes it and takes it and takes it and takes it from certain people in the media, and he gets sick of it after a while, and he gets ornery. And, and that's the thing is people want to say, well, look at his nature and look at how he treats people and look at this and look at that. And, I come back and say, if you were in that room with me and you were constantly being pushed and pushed and pushed, he has a breaking point, he has a tipping point, and sometimes he gets there, but that shouldn't take away from how exciting he is as a coach and how many games he's won and just what he's done. And he's always been good to me over the last 8 years, and we've sat in the office and spoken with each other man to man, and I appreciate the fact that he's taken some time out for me in that respect. And he really isn't the guy that I feel like people think he is, which is unfortunate.
Right. Very, very well said. And I think, at least what I hear, is next year's team or next year's recruits are supposed to be very, very good. So, and if we can keep those guys that are here now, I don't know what the story is with those the big three there, but if they come back and you combine that with the recruits, I think you're looking at a much better season. And then you got these other guys that are more seasoned now. Dolezaj and the big guy there. So I think I'm very optimistic for next year.
That coming from Hal Cohen, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum. Hal, I appreciate you being on the show as always, and I will make it a point to get you on here more often because it's always good to talk with you. And apparently we need to fly together now because we should both be in first class.
I think so. I'll have to talk to my sister about getting us some tickets.
Absolutely. So you pick wherever you want to go. I'm in Punta Cana, Italy, Spain. I mean, if I'm going to do it up, I'm going to do it big. So you pick a place, and we'll just have to make that phone call and say, maybe if there's two of us coming at it two different angles, then we got a shot at getting what we want. We'll see.
All right. Well, listen. If we get to the Final Four this year, then we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that very much. And like I said, I'll have to get you a sandwich because the $1 million contract I think expired. I don't know what happened to it. Yeah.
I was wondering. I hadn't seen anything. So okay. I guess okay. We'll start this year then for next year.
All right, Hal. As always, I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care. That coming again from Hal Cohen, phenomenal guy, awesome, really great sense of humor. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we will come back with my one-on-one conversations with the ACC's semifinal round in the tournament as Wake Up Call continues live from Brooklyn, right here on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt.
This is a wake-up call, Fast Break.
Gear up with the real deal at Dry-Sig Apparel, creating what people are going to see and learn about you before they even meet you. Gear up for what you need for your team, business, or event. To look professional, look good, and feel good, outfit yourself at DrySigApparel.com. That's DREISSIG Apparel.com. The only place to gear up with the real deal. What's the universal language of a fan? Clapping your hands. With Fan Hands, the ultimate sports fan accessory, find your team color, slip them on, and start cheering on your favorite team with 11 different colors, always in stock on fanhands.com, where you'll find the ultimate sports fan accessory. Real fans wear Fan Hands.
Utica Pizza Company spells family. Your family, my family, their family. The recipes that they have shared with each other throughout the years and have now been so gracious to share them with us. I can sit here and talk with you about all the great things that are on the menu, but we'd be here forever. So let me say this. Utica Pizza Company is second to none. And now you can bring it home with you and you can dine in the restaurant. UticaPizzaCompany.com will give you all the information that you need. And let me say, these Utica greens, they're the best. Utica Pizza Company. Call them and place your order at 315-214-3060. That's 315-214-3060. Families break bread at Utica Pizza Company.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We are live on location from the BK, Brooklyn, New York, with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. All week long, we have been live from Brooklyn in my coverage of the ACC men's basketball tournament, as well as the championship week in general with what's been going on. You can go to wakeupcalldt.com. On the homepage, go to the More tab and click on Bracketology and get my seedings and what I'm thinking about what's going on. Also get an update on what teams have won their conference tournaments to get the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. And also you can go there for ACC basketball coverage and get, when all is said and done today, 47 one-on-one interviews up to this point. And on top of that, interviews with Gene Waldron, Lawrence Moten, Ryan Blackwell, Craig Forth, Dajuan Coleman, Terrence Roberts, Sonny Spera, Hal Cohen, Dale Shackelford, and Roosevelt Bowie Jr., all Syracuse players that have joined me this week as Wake Up Call is broadcasted live from Brooklyn every single day, having at least one former Syracuse basketball player, which is something that we started in Washington, D.C. during the ACC tournament a couple of years ago, continued in Brooklyn last year, and are doing it again in Brooklyn this year. So, daring to be different, stepping outside of the typical box, and making it fun here on the broadcast. Always happy to talk with you, and always happy to talk with these student athletes, as well as the former athletes, coaches, so on and so forth. With that being said, let's get into the conversations that we're going to have here right now, and this conversation is going, or the conversations are going to start inside of the ACC tournament semifinals in my one-on-ones with the players. We're going to start with the Virginia Cavaliers, and this conversation with the Virginia Cavaliers, we're going to start with Mamadi Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, and Devon Hall live now on the broadcast. So let's get into my one-on-one conversation with Mamadi Diakite first and foremost. Once again, everything coming up is one-on-one sit-downs with myself and the players during the ACC tournament semifinal round that happened last night, and we're going to start with Mamadi Diakite, and I want to start with just the Clemson run and staving off Clemson trying to get back into this thing.
Well, we knew that Clemson was a really good team that can shoot from really deep, and they have some length and size. So we just try to keep to control what we could control. I mean, they hit some pretty tough shots. We take our hat off for those. They were all contested. I think they were all contested. I thought they were all contested, but we won. we got to think about what's going to be next.
And you look at, there was a drought in the first half for you for 5 minutes, and you scored at 12:34, and then you scored to break the drought as well. Just what you can say about making sure that you got involved offensively and help the team get back on it.
I mean, anytime that I can contribute to a win for the team, I'm ready for it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to contribute as much as I can.
Just what you could say about the second half and making sure that you kept them off. Just what you could say about locking down in the second half, playing your brand of basketball.
Yeah, they're pretty good. We tried our best. Sometimes we're trapping them. Sometimes we weren't trapping them. We're just trying to put them in that lane where they didn't know what was going on really. But again, we got the win. So.
That coming once again from Mamadi Diakite of the Virginia Cavaliers, one of the names that I love saying the most, and great personality. So I appreciate Mamadi for being a part of the show. You're going to hear what Isaiah Wilkins, his teammate, had to say about him in our one-on-one conversation in just a moment. Continuing on here, DeAndre Hunter up next. DeAndre Hunter of the Virginia Cavaliers had an opportunity to speak with him after their victory in this game up against Clemson that sent them into the ACC tournament finale, and just what he could say about the play of Mamadi Diakite in this game.
He played really well today on defense and offense. Fouls kind of limited him, but other than that, he was really effective for us.
When you have droughts like that, just what you can say about continuing to play your brand of basketball, and even when it looks like you might be out of a game, you're never truly out of the game.
Yeah, we're not. Like you said, we just continue to play our game. Even if we don't score, we don't try to change it up. We won't take a bad shot. We just keep running our offense, and good things will come.
Devon spoke about you're getting everybody's best game every single night. You guys have responded well, and 90% of the time you're making it happen for you guys. Is what you could say about getting the best game from everybody and finding a way to break through it.
We know we're going to get every team's best shot. We just have to come prepared. The coaches do a good job of preparing us each game, and we don't have a big head. We just come in as the underdog and we try to win every game.
People talk about Duke and North Carolina all the time, but Virginia's making a place for themselves obviously here. Just what you can say about being in the championship game and what it means for you guys, what it means for this team this year.
It means a lot. We get a chance to check another goal off our list, and hopefully whoever we play will get the win.
Historically, just what you could say about Virginia coming up in the last couple of years, including this season, just what Virginia is becoming nationally.
I feel like we're becoming a great program. We know we're good. It might not be pretty, but we know we're a good team, and hopefully people on the outside can start seeing that.
That coming from DeAndre Hunter. For those of you that don't know DeAndre, he's the one that hit the game-winning bucket against the Louisville Cardinals on the road in Louisville to win the game 61-60. Big-time win and big-time heave off the backboard by DeAndre Hunter. Coming up next, also with Virginia, Devon Hall. And we start out with his history with Virginia, just what he could say about waiting his turn.
It's been amazing, man. It's been a learning process, of course, and just a matter of getting better and respecting the process. I think you got to fall in love with it, and you have guys who help you through that process. So it's been fun, and I enjoy every single day of it. I've learned, and I've been able to grow into the player I am now, and I continue to want to keep getting better.
We see guys like you on this team, and Isaiah Wilkins coming up, and then Joel Berry, who had to wait his turn behind a bunch of guys in North Carolina. Just what you could say about that process and staying the course, and obviously anywhere you go, whoever you are, you want to play right away, but you have to wait your turn.
Guys are want the instant gratification or the instant success. So it's hard. It's hard when you're coming out of high school and you're this player who everybody thinks you are, or you're this player you think you are. But you get humble when you come to college, and you have to learn who you are and find out what you can do to help the team. And if that's a waiting thing, then you obviously have to wait and keep getting better.
When you're a guy coming off the bench and you got to play a role for Tony Bennett, and then as time goes by, you prove yourself, and he starts saying, okay, you're my starter, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Just bring me through that process and just how you handled the fact of, you're going to play a role tonight, to you're going to be one of my starters.
I think it was more just a trust thing, man. You have to trust him. You have to trust Coach Bennett. He has to trust you. So, doing the little things and doing the little things well helps you get earned time, and once you earn that time, you just keep his trust. And obviously, I've kept his trust, and which I really respect, because been through ups and downs in this program, but I do everything I can for this team.
There's been a string of guys from the Malcolm Brogdons to the London Parentes to yourself. Just what you can say about, you kind of all have an opportunity to teach each other and be around each other, and the success has continued throughout. Just what that says. Once Malcolm's done, there's still success. When London finishes up, look at where you guys are right now.
Yeah, it just speaks to the hard work we put in here, and even off the court. I mean, even as we leave here, and how much people are respecting this program. You can have, I think each and every player should have great confidence, and if they have dreams of aspiration after here, then they should be in a good spot depending on how well they did here. But I think that that speaks to this program and how well we develop players.
Do you see some rising stars on the team right now behind you?
Of course I do. The heck of players on this team, and you guys see it. I mean, you guys see it on the court, but I see it every day. People get better and better, and you guys don't see it. But like Marco works his butt off. Marco hasn't played much this season at all, but Marco works his butt off like no other. He's in the gym. If we were to go back and this is a regular away game, he would go in the gym and work out right after because he didn't play much. So I mean, everybody on this team works hard, which I can respect.
A guy like Mamadi at the beginning of this game that you had against Clemson, there was a drought for like 5 minutes and 10 seconds. He had a shot that he made at 12:34. Then there's a drought. He breaks the drought for you guys. Just what you can say about what he's been, and when there was that 5 minutes without a score, he was the one to break it, just like he was the last one to get a shot.
He's that spark. He's that spark that we need off the bench, and not necessarily just him, because DeAndre and Nigel come in and make that spark too. But he's that spark that's helping us a lot, and he's getting deep post position and making plays.
Bring me into the Virginia brand of basketball. We spoke about being a frustrating team. We spoke about being a disciplined team. But in a conference that constantly wants to talk about Duke and North Carolina, Virginia's found a way to be relevant year by year by year. And where you guys stand right now?
Yeah, I mean, we just every single day we try to come out and be who we are. We're trying to play. Essentially like the underdog, no matter what what we're ranked or what seed we are, whatever. Just trying to come out and play like dogs and underdogs, man.
It takes poise and it takes confidence to play in a game where you're down or where there's a drought and the shots aren't falling like at points in this game. Just what you could say about that type of mentality and the the strong-mindedness of it all, to see a game that's not going in your favor and to not do what other teams do, which is kind of accept defeat at certain times.
Right. I think it's more of experience, man. Being in those spots helps you. So whenever you're in those situations again, you know exactly what's going to happen and know not to just accept defeat and knowing that this is a tough group.
And lastly, for me, just define in one sentence, Virginia is what? What would you say?
Relentless.
That coming from Devon Hall of the Virginia Cavaliers, and I appreciate him sitting down and speaking on his history with me and taking some time with me after that big-time victory that sends Virginia back to the ACC Tournament Championship game. Coming up next from Virginia as well, we're going to have Isaiah Wilkins. Isaiah Wilkins, my one-on-one conversation with Isaiah, just what he can say about this team, and despite, kind of moving slow in the beginning and then, kind of branching out and whatnot, just what he took away from this game.
We just started doing what we were supposed to do. We came out a little bit flat and things like that, but, we got back to playing our type of basketball and tried to disrupt things, and we were able to do that.
There was a 5-minute drought in the first half. Mamadi was able to get a basket at 12:34, and then he broke the drought himself after that. Just what you can say about what he's been to you offensively.
He's been contributing at a consistent level, and I'm really happy for him like that. Sorry, I was looking at him. I get nervous when he does media.
Why do you get nervous when he does it?
That dude, man, that's a funny dude. But no, I'm happy for him. He's contributing consistently, and he's been doing that for a while now. So
I asked him personality-wise who had the better one, Coach Bennett or him. What would you say?
What are you looking for in their personality? What you want?
Comedy.
Comedy, go over there.
Okay.
Yeah, go over there.
Comedy for sure?
Yeah.
Is it even close or no?
No, because Bennett's funny. You guys don't get to see it, but he's a funny dude.
When you look at the championship game and just what Virginia has become over the last few seasons, just what you could say about in the ACC and as a national power, where Virginia's heading, in your opinion?
We've been working hard. I don't really know about all the extra stuff, but we work hard and we believe in each other in here and things like that. So, that's really all that matters in end of the day.
And then this is a season at the beginning where Coach Bennett had spoken about not really knowing what to expect with guys transferring out, guys finishing up, and new faces coming in. What can you say about how this season, where it's gotten to at this point, and if you thought you would be here?
Yeah, I mean, we believed in each other. It wasn't like we were out here expecting to go out and lose every night. We know if we worked hard, we'd have a chance. So that's what we're doing, man. Working hard. We still believe in each other. It's getting stronger as the season goes on. So that's what it is.
That coming once again from Isaiah Wilkins of the Virginia Cavaliers, and the fifth interview of all five that I did after the semifinal game here. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, live on location in Brooklyn, New York, in my coverage of the ACC men's basketball tournament, as well as championship week in college basketball as a whole. You heard from Mamadi, DeAndre, Isaiah just there, and Devon, and now Kyle Guy joins the show for the first time ever. My one-on-one conversation with Kyle coming off of the ACC semifinal win over Clemson that propelled Virginia into the championship game for the ACC tournament, going up against North Carolina. Kyle Guy and I spoke about the two terms that I've spoke with other guys about, frustrating and disciplined, the two terms that I believe describe Virginia. This is what he had to say in reference to those two words, frustrating and disciplined.
We're so disciplined as a team because of what Coach Bennett and the coaching staff instilled from day one. You know, every game it's put our backpack on and rebound. So that means get back, no transition points, be in the pack for our defense, and then rebound. And we do a lot of just fundamental stuff that kindergartners do, and it pays off, and other teams don't do that. So that's the discipline part, and the frustration. When a team is so disciplined, you can't break them down. That's frustrating, because we've been in those positions against other teams. Like Virginia Tech played very good defense against us, and even Clemson was a heck of a defensive team tonight. So,
what is, when you say you break it down to basics and do kindergarten stuff? What is some of that kindergarten stuff?
We just do 3-man box out. Just be 3 guys running as hard as they can, trying to get a rebound, or before practice one guy, Devon's in the middle, and everyone stands around. We just dribble for 30 seconds, and then we do cone dribbling, and then we do passing. A big tie on the other side of me, and we just fake pass, and people think it's stupid, and they already know how to do it, but it shows up late in games, especially in March. When you make a bad pass, and that's the game right there. So,
and it comes down to fundamentals, and that's obviously, like you said, it's something that you pride yourself on. But just what you can say about the willingness of this team to do those little things, the monotonous things, the things that some people are like, yeah, I already know how to do that.
Yeah, those are the guys that we recruit here. Coach can tell if you're a hard worker, if you're gonna fit in here, and when you get here and you don't think you're gonna fit in, he's gonna make you fit in. So, that's just the guys are just, we're such a unified unit, and I think that helps a lot that we trust each other so much.
Coach Bennett said at the beginning of the season, with some guys that were transferring out, new faces coming in, guys finishing up, that it was going to be a new challenge. Did you see this team doing as well as it has? I mean, could you see, was the vision there, was kind of the belief there right from the beginning?
Absolutely. Like I said, my recruiting class was so close, and with Dev and Isaiah, we're just a very close bunch, and we set out goals as soon as everything settled down with the transfers and coach getting job offers and stuff. Everything settled down. We just didn't really hold a meeting, but we're just all together, and we just said let's do something that hasn't been done before. So we saw the vision.
It's about waiting your turn, and I spoke with Devon about this, having to watch and be a role player at times, be in for a couple minutes, and then grow into what he is now, grow into what you're in now, Isaiah, and whatnot. Just what you can say about going through the process, and obviously you want to play when you come out of high school. Everybody wants minutes, but on Virginia's team, you wait your turn, you're part of that depth chart, and then eventually, if you do what you need to do for Coach Bennett, you'll end up on top.
Yeah, that's you just gotta trust Coach Bennett, because he's one of the most genuine coaches out there, and he wants what's best for you. And DeAndre is a one and done talent, but some guys go one and done and they don't make it in the NBA. He decided to trust the process and get stronger and work on his game, and it's showing off. So he won't be here all for 4 years, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, comment once again from Kyle Guy of the Virginia Cavaliers. I want to thank all of the Virginia players that came on to the show, and all the guys that I had an opportunity to speak with: Mamadi, Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall, and Kyle Guy that you just heard from. We'll take a quick step aside to get into that Duke-North Carolina rivalry. You'll hear from my one-on-one conversations with Marvin Bagley III, Wendell Carter Jr., both of Duke, and Cam Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson of North Carolina right after this fast break. Wake-up call from Brooklyn.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Hi, this is Kira from Looking Glass Events, where we're always giving you a reason to celebrate. Whether you have a small business, large business, personal event, or wedding, we are available to plan and coordinate your dream event to life. Every detail, every step, Looking Glass Events is working with you all the way. Call us at 315-702-4653. That's 315-702-4653. Or contact us through our website, lgweddingsandevents.com. Looking Glass Events, giving you a reason to celebrate.
The Penn and Trophy Center on 111 East Willow Street in Syracuse, New York, has been making memories for Central New York for over 60 years. It has the trophies for your teams, and when you walk in there, it's so much more than just that. When you walk into the Penn and Trophy Center, you are immersed in the reality that anything can be customized, anything can be engraved, whether it's for your anniversary, your wedding, your bar mitzvah, your birthday party, whatever you want to do with that memory, that watch from grandpa, or that bracelet from mom, or that wedding ring that's been passed down through your family. If you want to get something engraved with a memory to last a lifetime, the Penn and Trophy Center, 111 East Willow Street in Syracuse, New York, where memories are made and where memories last a lifetime.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, live on location from Brooklyn, New York. This is our final show from Brooklyn, folks. We're going to be, doing video and articles and this, that, and the other, so stay close to Facebook at wakeupcalldt, Twitter at calldt, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT to continue to get information on the ACC Championship Week, all the brackets that are going on around the conferences and their tournaments, respectively, as well as bracketology and the upcoming NCAA tournament. With all of that being said, I want to thank everybody that's been on the show. I want to thank you for being a part of it. And I look forward to you reading my articles, continuing to do so. I write an article on every single game of the ACC tournament. Also written some Syracuse articles in the midst of all that, and I have some other ones coming up for Syracuse. And that's all on wakeupcalldt.com on the Right Now page, which is a play on words to give you stories that I have, and I write them, and you can read them right now on demand. Hence why WRITE now, right now. And you can also get all of the interviews that I do by going to the ACC Basketball Quick link at the bottom of wakeupcalldt.com. You can also, on the top of wakeupcalldt.com, see the ACC Central tab, and underneath that tab is ACC Basketball, and that'll bring you to all my coverage of the ACC as well. So plenty of ways to get involved. Social media, the easiest way, because you see it pop up instantaneously, and so you could subscribe to wakeupcalldt.com and then like facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, Twitter at calldt, follow me there, and on Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. Continuing on my conversations every single day, bringing you shows here from Brooklyn that involve the players that are in these games all the way through the first round of the ACC tournament, all the way to the championship. So from the semis, I had an opportunity to speak with Wendell Carter Jr., as well as Marvin Bagley. And so I want to start out with Wendell on just what he said to me he's taken from this season at this point.
No, it's a lot of great teams in our conference, but now we're moving into March Madness, where it's really win or go home. You have to win 6 games in a row, to walk home with the trophy. And we're going to take it one game at a time.
What happened in this game, in your opinion? Because there were runs back and forth, but ultimately in the second half, whatever you tried to do, North Carolina had a response for it.
In that point, it was kind of too late. We came out and played very hard in the second half, but North Carolina's a great team, and we just have to learn as a team to play how we did in the second half for 40 minutes, and that would definitely change the whole face of the game.
Marvin said that about learning what you needed to do for 40 minutes and not just do it for one half and whatnot. Just what you can say about it. I mean, you've gone through over 30 games at this point, so is there a disconnect at all? I mean, what can you say about, because you talked about it, he talked about playing the whole 40, just what you can say about that?
I don't know. I think it was a mind lapse for us. It's kind of hard for me to put my finger on it. A couple of people were hurting tonight. It's definitely not an excuse. Yeah, I'm good.
Your leg's okay?
Yeah,
it looked like you were running and jumping normally.
Yeah, it's
no problem.
Yeah, once my adrenaline gets going, I'm fine. Yeah, but we just gotta, move on from this. We can't really dwell on this. Recover mentally and physically and get ready for the tournament.
What have you learned from the season so far up to this point as you move into the NCAA tournament?
All teams are great. You can't underestimate anybody. It's real. Like you have to come out and play for a whole 40 minutes in order to win. So that's what we're going to be preaching for to the next game every day, every meeting.
You didn't win this one, but you look at the depth of this team moving forward and just what you could say about the multiple weapons and multi-dimensional piece that you have as Duke moving forward into the NCAA tournament.
Repeat the question, my fault.
Just what you can say about being multi-dimensional and having a lot of different weapons on the team.
Yeah, like you said, we're very, very talented individuals. And as soon as we can gel together and do that for 40 minutes and not just one half, I think we can be unstoppable.
From Wendell Carter Jr. to Marvin Bagley III, my conversation with Marvin Bagley staying in the locker room of the Duke Blue Devils on what he could say about seeing the rivalry from afar between Duke and North Carolina and this season experiencing it for the first time. Just what he's taken away from it, not just in this game in the ACC semis, but as a whole going up against North Carolina.
Anything can happen. Every time we step out on that floor against them, we know that they're going to give us their best shot, and we're going to give them our best shot. Unfortunately, they got us, but hopefully we see them again.
What can you say you've learned from the season up to this point? First crack at it for college basketball.
Anything can happen. It's a long season. Can't get too high, can't get too low about things that happen. You got to make sure you stay even keel the whole way. Keep getting better, keep working out in the gym, keep staying in shape so you're ready for moments like these. It's a long season.
I know you mentioned Grayson Allen before, just what you could say about his leadership on this team and what you've taken away from him and how he's kind of taken you along and helped you along.
He's a big part of this team as a captain. He's just been leading us through the whole way. He's been through this 4 times now, so he knows what to expect, and we just trying to follow his lead and try to do whatever we can to help him out.
That coming from Marvin Bagley III. Marvin Bagley III reclassifying to be a part of Duke's class that already featured a ton of strong players this season. It's insane. Everything that Duke had coming in, and then you add in Marvin Bagley III at the 11th hour, and we go and we look at the roster for the Duke Blue Devils, bringing in Trayvon Duval, as well as Gary Trent Jr., 2 freshmen on the team, Wendell Carter Jr., another freshman on the team. So to have all these guys come in, Alex O'Connell, Jordan Goldwire, so on and so forth, Jordan Tucker, you bring all of these players in, and on top of that, Marvin Bagley III, 6'11", forward from Phoenix, Arizona. Massively huge. and most likely playing in your NBA by a team near you coming up after this NCAA tournament. And before we get to the NCAA tournament, we have to play the ACC championship game. You heard one side of it with Virginia. Here's the other side with North Carolina. First and foremost, my one-on-one conversation with Theo Pinson, the clashing of styles between Virginia and North Carolina. What do you think about that?
It's for all the marbles. Both teams going to put everything they have into this game, and we're going to play as hard as we can. They're going to play as hard as they can, and it's going to be a grinded out type of game, and we're going to do everything we can to win.
Kenny talked about the fact that they want 30-second possessions. You want 10 to 15-second possessions. Just what you can say about the ebb and flow of that.
We understand what type of game. Me and Joe played against. Cam played against him. Luke, Kenny, all of us. So we understand we have to take great shots, and that's what it's going to take to win.
That coming once again from Theo Pinson, senior forward on this North Carolina Tar Heels team. And coming up next is Kenny Williams of the Tar Heels, adjusting to the second half and taking care of business. So what do you have to say about that?
We just got stops. That was our main thing. Making it hard for them, making it tough for them on the defensive end, and just attacking the zone as efficiently as we could. And I feel like we did both of those well tonight, especially when they made their run. We kind of weathered the storm and just did what we wanted to do, really.
So many people watch the rivalry. You're living in the rivalry. Just what you can say about it and what it's like, and how even this game in Brooklyn felt like it was neutral court with 50-50 on each side.
Every game's going to be a fight. Very rarely do you have one team winning by 15.
Where y'all at? Where y'all at?
Hey, way to work, boy. It's going to be a fight, and coming into this game, you have to be ready for that. Everybody's going to make their run. Even tonight, we were up 15, 16 points, and it looked like we had the game in hand, and they made their run. So neither side's going to quit, and I think that's the best part about it.
Bagley and Allen in the last game combined for 56 points. Bagley had 33. Just what you can say about matching up against them in this one, making sure that they didn't go off as much as they did before.
We knew we had to stop them if we wanted to have a chance. We couldn't let either one of them get going and do what they wanted to do. So that was our focus, just stopping them and doing as best we could to limit their looks, and if they got a look, to make it as contested as we could.
Lastly, for me, Virginia, your teammate Cam Johnson had talked about how it's a clash of schemes, and you have a style, they have a style, and the clash of style is going to happen once again this season in the tournament finale. Just what you could say about your style and theirs, and what that's going to look like and feel like this time around.
It's totally different. They want 30-second possessions. We want 10, 15-second possessions. So whoever does their best at setting the tempo, I think is going to take control of the game. I mean, it's a little bit easier to slow a game down than to speed it up, but we have to do our best to make sure every look is contested like we have been, and when we do get a chance, push the ball so we can get those easy layups.
And finally, for today's broadcast, live from Brooklyn with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as on the live feed itself, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, is Cameron Johnson, who came over from Pitt as a graduate transfer. Hindsight being 2020, just what he can say about the decision.
I put a lot of thought into the decision. I put a lot of thought into this decision, from just the decision to leave my hometown, with all my family there. My dad played there, my mom went to school there. It was pretty tough to come to. And to make a step like that, you gotta really take it seriously. So that whole month of April, whole month of May, it's really just a lot of weighing options, seeing what would be best. And I took a long, hard look at Carolina when I had the opportunity too, and I really liked what this program was about, and this is what it's about. And I tried my best to make a decision, the right decision for myself and for my future, and I want to do that to be a part of something bigger, and I think I made the right decision.
You leave Pitt, and 2 years into having Kevin Stallings, he's not there anymore. The team didn't win an ACC game, and here you are in the ACC tournament finale.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thankful that I was able to be in a situation, like this. Things happen in life, but everything happens for a reason. I really believe that, and I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's game, to say the least.
In the second half, you had a dagger three that happened. Just what you could say, you turned around, just launched it. I think there was a good amount of time on the shot clock. Were feeling something at that point?
Sometimes it's on the catch. Sometimes when you catch the ball at the grooves, you just know you got to shoot that one, just because you can't pass up an opportunity like that. A lot of shooting, in my opinion, is on the catch and how you feel on the catch, where your hands are positioned. And that one, it just kind of fell right in, and so I let it go.
It's a game of runs, and you know that obviously this Duke North Carolina rivalry is pretty massive, but now you had an opportunity to be a part of it this season. Just what you could say about it.
Oh, it's an amazing rivalry. It's a great thing to be a part of. I'm really honored to be a part of it, and to come out with a 2-1 advantage in it. And maybe we're not done. Maybe we'll see them again, but it's great to win the semifinal game, get to the championship. Our job is not done, but to get a win on this stage against them was really special.
And lastly, for me, to look at Virginia, not only is it the ACC tournament finale, but it's also the arguable top team in the country right now. Just what you could say about that matchup, and obviously you guys have seen them before.
Definitely one I'm looking forward to. They play a very distinct style of basketball, and we have a distinct style of basketball as well. So it'll be a little bit of a clash of styles, and if we play with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and we compete as hard as we can, things will take care of themselves.
That coming once again from Cameron Johnson, who came over from Pittsburgh, who ended up going 0-19 this season in ACC play, to the North Carolina Tar Heels, who are playing for an ACC tournament championship and a 2 seed, bare minimum at this point, I would think, maybe a 1 seed. So, because Xavier lost. I think Villanova's a 1. I think Virginia's a 1. I think Michigan State's a 1. And usually the ACC tournament champion has an opportunity to get in the other one. So, could be North Carolina if they get that win over Virginia in this game. I want to thank everybody that was a part of the broadcast today, including Mamadi Diakite, DeAndre Hunter, Isaiah Wilkins, Devon Hall and Kyle Guy of Virginia, Duke's Marvin Bagley III and Wendell Carter Jr., North Carolina's Cam Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson. I also want to thank Syracuse Orange alum for joining the broadcast live, Sonny Spera and Hal Cohen. I want to thank everybody that's been on the show this week. Up to this point here in Brooklyn, 47 interviews with student athletes that Jerome Robinson, Kai Bowman of BC once again, Josh Okogie, Todrick Jackson of Georgia Tech, a thank you to all of them, Rex Pfluger, Bonzi Colson, Matt Farrell, TJ Gibbs Jr. of Notre Dame, Louisville's Ray Spalding and Dwayne Sutton, FSU's Terrence Mann, NC State's Alric Freeman, Virginia Tech's Justin Bibbs, Virginia's DeAndre Hunter, Devon Hall, Mamadi Diakite, Isaiah Wilkins, Kyle Guy. Want to thank all of them for being a part of the show. Clemson's Mark Donnell and Elijah Thomas. Duke's Gary Trent Jr., Wendell Carter Jr., and Marvin Bagley III. Miami's Lonnie Walker IV and Chris Likes. North Carolina's Joel Berry II, Cam Johnson, Kenny Williams, and Theo Pinson. And, of course, Syracuse's Marek Dolezaj, Frank Howard, O'Shea Brissett, Matthew Moyer, Brahma Sidibe, Tyus Battle, Pascal Chukwu, Alan Griffin, the assistant coach. Thank you to each and every single one of you, and to the Syracuse alum that were on the show. Every single broadcast during championship week of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora Live featured at least one former Syracuse basketball player in the Dare to Be Different pieces of what we do here at Wake Up Call. I want to thank Dale Shackelford, Roosevelt Bowie Jr. for being a part of the show on Tuesday, March 6th, live from Brooklyn, as well as on March 7th, Gene Waldron, Lawrence Moten, and Ryan Blackwell. March 8th with Daewon Coleman and Craig Forth coming onto the show for the first time. Today with Sonny Spera and Hal Cohen, and on March 9th, on that Friday show, Terrence Roberts came on right after the live broadcast, did a special with me, It was almost 40 minutes long, and that's available on the app right now at wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. You can go to wakeupcalldt.com, click on the RSS feed, the iTunes podcast, and the app powered by Podbean, and every single one of those has the interview with Terrence Roberts, so make sure that you don't miss that as well. So thank you to everybody from Brooklyn, the hospitality of the ACC, of the Barclays Center. For the Barclays Center, I know people get frustrated that the Barclays, in places these days have to check everything and can't let you in this door and have to ask these questions and have you walk here and walk there. But like my wife said, they're protecting you. And if they're overdoing their job, at least they're doing that as opposed to underdoing their job of safety and security. So thank you to the Barclays Center. Thank you to everybody in all the 15 schools of the ACC. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to each and every one of the member schools of the ACC for everything that they did this week to make this week always exciting. This is hard to believe, my 5th straight ACC tournament. 2 in Greensboro, 1 in Washington, D.C., and the last 2 in Brooklyn. I want to thank Boston College, Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, Notre Dame, Pitt, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, and, of course, Syracuse for being a part of what we're doing here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and for coming out to the games. Not everybody can win, and I appreciate all 15 for being here and being a part of it. Can't wait for the championship game tonight. Virginia takes on North Carolina at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a number 1 seeded Virginia and number 1 overall seeded right now in bracketology, in my opinion, and number 1 team in the nation out of 351 Division I men's basketball schools. And then on the other side, we have obviously the North Carolina Tar Heels, who are a 6 seed and playing like a 2 or a 3 in this scenario for the ACC and playing for a number 2 seed, if not a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament coming up here very shortly. So I will be at the game. You can follow all my information on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, on Twitter at Call DT, and if you don't have social media, you can go to wakeupcalldt.com, and on the tab Who's DT, put your mouse right over that. You'll see the drop-down menu. Click on Fan Cave, and that will bring you my live updates on my Twitter feed without you having to have Twitter. So always find a way to get the information out to everybody, no matter what your preferences are. I do the best I can. So thank you so much for listening into the show. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you to the ACC, Amy Yacola, John Swafford, and the entire team, Mike Finn, who got an award, well-deserving. Always love talking with Mike on the ACC football teleconferences, so thank you to Mike Finn for that. And just to everybody with the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Barclays Center, and, of course, last but not least, to Brooklyn. I love you. I appreciate you. You're part of me now. I feel like Brooklyn's got a little piece of my puzzle, So I was walking around Brooklyn yesterday before the games and went to the crepe place that I know, walked around familiar parts, the subway that I take to the Javits Center when I go to New York Comic-Con, walking around the old digs and being on Fulton Street where my sister used to live. So big shout out to the BK and to the Wholesome Food Market that feeds me extremely well, and to the Batman sub that I'm about to eat when I get off this broadcast. So thank you to Brooklyn. It's like Brooklyn stand up, I want to say Brooklyn stand up, but I know they're already standing because it's Brooklyn. So thank you to Brooklyn for everything that you do. This has been amazing. I'm going to miss it like crazy. We're back in Charlotte for the ACC tournament next year, and then Greensboro after that. But John Swafford, as heard in my special, said this Washington, D.C., North Carolina, Brooklyn, New York City type of digs for the the round robin of the ACC tournament seems to be something the ACC likes. So it seems like we'll be back in Brooklyn soon enough. So I can't believe that it's been 2 years in the BK. And I can't believe that I wasn't in Brooklyn before this. And I want to thank Brooklyn for welcoming me to my grandmother's home, my Gammy Miller. I love you in heaven, and my Pop Miller. And my Gam, she grew up on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. And now her grandson is on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center doing his thing. Owning my own company for over 6 years and broadcasting live to you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We build this, and we build it together. To the BK, I don't have words. I love you, Brooklyn. Thank you for being a part of my heart now. God bless you always, and a part of my mind. Great memories. I got to go discover Brooklyn, and I also have to take a nap. So I think it's time to take a nap. I think it's time. So I'll see you all for the championship tonight. And make sure you stay close on social media at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, and at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram. Thank you for all that you do. Truly appreciate it. We shot a video with Giovanni's with former Philadelphia Eagle and Syracuse running back Rob Drummond. Go watch that on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And join the Tourney Pick'em in the Yahoo Pick'em. You can find the Wake Up Call League by going to the Tourney Pick'em for Yahoo and go to find a group, and we're in the top 10. So you'll see Wake Up Call right there. So you can find us, or you can search Wake Up Call, 3 separate words, Wake Up Call. So make sure that you know that we're going to be there, and I appreciate you so very much. I thank you for everything that you do, and have a great day. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting what I do and what I'm about. Thank you for loving the show. Thank you for knowing that it's different in a good way. Thank you for taking a kid from Syracuse, New York, who grew up with a great family and went through stuff that people go through. Got bullied, worked hard to get good grades, worked hard at what I could, played basketball, and then started broadcasting after that. It's just, I just want to thank you all for the love and the support that you've given to me. And I want to thank all the people that have been hateful and negative and derogatory and wishing bad on me, because none of you will ever succeed, and in 32 years you've done a horrible job. I mean, it's not going to work. And, that's because I have God on my side. And I want to thank God more than anything else for giving this little kid from Syracuse something fun to do every day. Surrounded by the best. Have a great day, folks. I'll talk with you soon.